There's a moment in every man's life when applause stops and silence starts testing him. No one's cheering, no one's watching, just you, your thoughts, and the weight you still carry. That's where real strength begins. Not in how loud you talk or how much you own, but in how steady you stay when nothing goes your way. Strong men aren't built in comfort. They're built in quiet rooms after bad days when no one believes in them yet. If you've ever stood alone and kept your head high, you're already on that path. Let's uncover the 10 signs that you're quietly becoming a strong man, even when no one sees it. Sign 1, you stand still inside busy days. Most men confuse motion with progress. They rush, they grind, they answer every call, chase every distraction, thinking they're building something, when really they're burning out. But strength isn't in how fast you move. It's in how clearly you can see when everything around you spins. The strong man doesn't sprint to prove his worth. He moves with intent. He knows that not every battle deserves his sword. There's power in the man who pauses. He's not slow. He's surgical. While the crowd reacts, he reads the field. He saves his words. He saves his fire. Because he's learned that control is louder than anger, and direction beats speed every time. Think about that moment at work when your coworker snapped over something small. You wanted to fire back. You even rehearsed the line in your head, but you didn't. You looked at him, saw the stress behind the noise, and walked away calm. That's not weakness. That's mastery. You chose peace over impulse, clarity over chaos. And if you've been that man who kept moving until you broke, listen, you didn't fail. You just learned the lesson earlier. Now you know focus is fuel, distraction is theft. So you cut the noise, you guard your time, and you stop apologizing for protecting your peace. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. You can't control the storm, but you can control the captain." That's strength, not retreat, not surrender, but command. The weak brag about being busy. The strong build in silence. They let discipline speak for them. They don't rush to be seen. They move so cleanly that results eventually have to speak. And when the world pushes you to hurry, take a breath and smile. You're not behind. You're just done performing. Strong men don't rush life. They walk it down. If that line felt like something you needed today, tap like. Not for me, but as a promise to yourself to move with calm again. Tomorrow morning before you rush, sit for 60 seconds. Watch how your mind calms when you stop performing. Ask yourself, are you moving to escape the noise or finally learning to move through it? Sign 2, you set boundaries without burning bridges. Picture this. Your younger brother calls again. Same story, same trouble, same rescue request. You've done it before, too many times. This time, you stay calm. You tell him, "Listen, I care about you, but I can't keep doing what's holding you back." He gets angry, maybe hangs up. You don't chase. You stay still and let life teach him what comfort never could. That's not coldness, it's maturity, because enabling is not compassion, it's control disguised as help. Strong men know that saving everyone isn't strength, it's avoidance. It's easier to fix others than to face your own reflection. Most men learn this too late. They spend years saying yes to everything. Extra work, weekend favors, pointless meetings, believing it'll make them liked, promoted, or respected. But slowly they realize all that pleasing never bought them peace. It only taught others that their time was free. That's not ambition. That's quiet surrender dressed as loyalty. And here's the truth. A strong man doesn't build walls. He builds doors. And those doors have locks, not to keep people out, but to keep his peace in. Real strength begins the moment you understand that no is not rejection, it's protection. You can love people deeply and still guard your energy. You can help others without handing them the keys to your sanity. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom doesn't mean cutting everyone off. It means choosing who gets access and when. It means standing in the middle of chaos and saying, "This part is mine." You're not cruel for drawing a line. You're courageous for keeping it. Because boundaries aren't about separation, they're about preservation. They protect the version of you that shows up with patience, with peace, with purpose. So when people say you've changed, smile. You didn't change, you just stopped abandoning yourself to please them. Have you ever done that, said no, and felt both guilty and free? And that's a win only strong men understand. You don't owe everyone access, just the ones who earn it. Sign 3, you repair, then release. Strong men don't hide from mistakes. They face them, fix what they can, and release what they can't. Because holding on doesn't make you loyal, it makes you heavy. I once knew a man named Daniel who ran a small repair shop in town. For years, he barely spoke to his father. They'd fallen out after Daniel quit college to start his own business, and his father called him a fool. Daniel worked for years trying to prove the man wrong, but pride never healed distance. It only deepened it. When his father got sick, Daniel finally showed up. No speeches, no tears, just presence. He sat beside the old man, held the silence, and said quietly, "I'm here." That was all it took. Not to erase the past, but to stop it from owning the present. That's what real repair looks like for men. It's rarely emotional, rarely perfect. Some repairs don't need apologies. They just need presence. You don't have to say, "I'm sorry," 1,000 times. Sometimes "I'm here" is louder than all of them. It's a steady step toward peace, not performance. And if that's you too, don't feel ashamed. Distance is often what teaches men how to love right later. Most men confuse guilt with honor. They think punishing themselves makes them accountable. But strength isn't in reliving your mistakes. It's in learning the lesson and refusing to repeat it. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The past doesn't break you. It's your attachment to it that does. Even great men fall. Robert Downey Jr., the man who plays Iron Man, once lost everything. Addiction, arrests, public shame. His career was over. But he rebuilt brick by brick. He faced his demons, rebuilt his discipline, and rose again. Not to prove he was perfect, but to prove he was finished with pretending. That's what rebuilding looks like. Because repair isn't about who forgives you, it's about whether you finally forgive yourself. So if you've broken something, make it right. Call, show up, fix what's yours. But when you've done that, let go. You can't build a future with hands still clinging to old wreckage. Strong men don't live in regret. They build from it. Ask yourself, what guilt are you still calling loyalty? And what would happen if you finally set it free? Sign 4. You choose discipline over applause. Strong men don't chase claps. They chase consistency. They've learned that applause fades faster than progress lasts. When you're young, you want people to see how hard you work. But there's a moment every man hits when he realizes validation is just noise in a different costume. It feels good, then it disappears. What stays is the work. You might think people forgot you, but they're just watching to see if you'll stay consistent when no one claps. Think of the man who wakes before dawn to run, not because anyone's watching, but because he said he would. Nobody claps when he laces up his shoes. No one texts him, "You're amazing." But every quiet morning becomes a brick in a fortress no storm can shake. That's discipline. It's invisible, but it builds everything visible. That's the kind of strength no one claps for, and that's why it lasts. Most men burn out chasing recognition. They start fast, post updates, crave praise. But applause is like sugar. It spikes you, then leaves you empty. Strong men prefer the slow fuel of discipline. They know that every small, boring decision, sleeping on time, keeping promises, saying no to shortcuts, is what turns ordinary into unshakable. Musonius Rufus once said, "Practice is more important than theory." The strong man doesn't just talk about values, he drills them daily. He doesn't announce every change. He lives it until silence starts proving him right. And if you've ever been overlooked, ignored, or underestimated, good. That's the best training ground there is. Because when no one expects anything from you, you're free to build without distraction. You can rise without noise, move without permission, win without witnesses. Strong men don't need to be seen. They need to be solid. They don't need credit. They need control. They don't seek comfort. They seek capability. So when the world claps, smile, but keep your head down and your hands busy, because applause is temporary, but the man who keeps showing up, he becomes timeless. Tomorrow morning, prove it. Show up before the noise starts, and when you start showing up that way, something else shifts. Your voice. Sign 5, you speak the hard truth. Softly, I remember a friend, Adam, who used to explode at everything. One time, a coworker took credit for his idea during a meeting. Adam stood up furious, ready to embarrass the guy in front of everyone. Then he stopped mid-sentence, looked around and said calmly, "Let's talk after this." He handled it in private, with composure. The same people who once feared his anger now respected his authority. That's what growth looks like. The day you stop fighting to prove and start choosing when to protect peace. Because control isn't weakness, it's wisdom in action. Weak men avoid conflict. Loud men start wars. Strong men, they tell the truth, but they tell it right. There's a moment every man faces, that split second between what you feel and what you say. Most fail right there. They speak from pride, not purpose. They confuse volume with power. But the strong man learns, you don't need to raise your voice when your presence already speaks. Let's be real. Every guy has had a Tarzan moment, that primitive urge to pound your chest and prove you're right. Maybe it's in an argument with your boss. Maybe it's your partner saying something unfair. Maybe it's your teenager pushing your patience. Your instincts scream, "Show them who's in charge." But you've learned that the man who must shout for respect already lost it. Like Tarzan, you could swing from vine to vine, yelling to prove you own the jungle. But the older you get, the more you realize, true kings don't need to announce their throne. They move with calm, and the jungle adjusts around them. The strong man has traded noise for nuance. He listens longer, reacts slower, and speaks with precision. Because he knows words can heal or destroy, and the hardest truth, when said right, can still land softly. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not true, do not say it. If it is not right, do not do it." That's Stoicism at its sharpest. Simple, disciplined, timeless. Truth without control is chaos, but truth delivered with grace, that's power refined. A calm tone doesn't mean you've gone soft. It means you've grown strong enough to stay steady when others lose themselves. Strong men don't need to shout to be heard. They've mastered the art of power without noise. Their calm is their credibility, their restraint, their roar. If you've learned to stay calm when others lose control, share one lesson that taught you that strength. I'll read every word. If your calm feels heavy, it's only because you've outgrown chaos. By now, you might start to see a pattern. Strength isn't what the world taught us. It's quieter, slower, deeper. Let's keep going. Sign 6. You keep going when no one believes in you. Every man has a season where life goes silent. No one checks in. No one claps. That silence doesn't mean you're failing. It means life is clearing the noise so you can finally hear yourself. You're doing everything right, and still, nothing moves. That's the stretch that breaks most people. But it's also the place where strong men are made. You wake up early, grind quietly, and carry a dream that even the people closest to you stopped asking about. They don't see your plan anymore. They just see the delay. And if you're honest, some days so do you. That's the hardest part, when doubt stops coming from the world and starts coming from within. But here's the truth. The strong man doesn't build for applause. He builds for endurance. He's not chasing permission. He's proving consistency. He knows that belief isn't a group project. It's a one-man discipline. Think of Chris Gardner, the man behind The Pursuit of Happiness. He slept in train station bathrooms with his son, carrying the weight of failure in front of the one person he couldn't lie to, his child. But every morning, he still put on his suit, showed up for his unpaid internship, and refused to quit. He didn't pray for luck. He trained for survival. And when the break finally came, it wasn't magic. It was math. Effort multiplied by time. I still remember the first time I watched that film. I cried. Not because of the ending, but because I saw every man's struggle in it. I saw myself, and maybe you'll see yourself too. That quiet fight to hold dignity when life takes everything else away. That moment when you realize tears don't make you weak. They prove you've survived something that could have broken you. Every man has his bathroom floor moment, when you're too proud to ask for help, yet too alive to quit. That's where the real story starts. That's what strong men understand. Success doesn't always show up loud. Sometimes it sneaks in after 1,000 quiet, disciplined days that nobody saw. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The wall in front of you isn't blocking the path. It is the path. And walking through it will make you the man you've been pretending to be. So if no one believes in you right now, good. They're not supposed to. That's what solitude is for, to strip away validation until only conviction remains. Strong men don't ask for faith, they create proof. Keep your head down, keep your word, keep walking. The world may not notice yet, but one day it'll realize you are already building what they thought you'd lost. You've felt the burn, now keep the fire clean. No self-pity, no noise, just quiet power, waiting for its turn. Ask yourself, are you waiting for support? Or are you quietly becoming the reason you no longer need it? And somewhere along that walk, you stop waiting for applause. You start walking for yourself. Sign 7, you live on your terms. I remember driving home late one night after turning down a lucrative deal. It would have made me rich, but it came with strings, lies, and fake smiles. I rolled down the window, looked at the empty road, and felt something rare, peace. Because there's no better sleep than the kind that comes after an honest decision. Every man reaches a point where he stops asking for permission. He no longer waits for someone to tell him it's okay to begin, to leave, to change, to breathe. That moment, when you finally claim your own direction, is the moment you start living. Most men spend years following quiet scripts. Be agreeable. Work hard. Don't make waves. Smile at meetings you hate. Laugh at jokes that expired back in 2004, and say no worries while quietly dying inside. And then one day they look around and realize they've built a life that pleases everyone except themselves. That's not failure. It's the awakening before freedom. That's when something inside whispers, it's my life. It's now or never, not as rebellion, but as truth. Strong men hear that line and understand. Freedom is not noise. It's responsibility. It's the courage to stand behind your choices, even when no one claps for them. It's walking away from what looks good to protect what feels right. Epictetus wrote, "No great thing is created suddenly." And he was right. Authentic living takes time. It's built from the small daily acts of refusing to betray yourself. You stop performing for people who don't even notice the effort. You stop dimming your fire to keep others comfortable. Strong men don't need the crowd to understand. They need to respect the man in the mirror. They know that quiet integrity lasts longer than loud success. So when that inner voice rises again, it's my life. It's now or never. Listen to it. That's not a song lyric. It's a reminder. Do you remember the exact moment you stopped living for others? You don't get to live twice. And this time, the only permission you need is your own. You've waited long enough. Start walking your own road. Sign 8. You invest in few, show up fully. Most men spread themselves too thin. They try to be everywhere, please everyone, belong to everything, until they realize belonging everywhere means belonging nowhere. The strong man learns the opposite: depth over width, presence over popularity. He doesn't chase every connection. He chooses a few and commits. Because real strength isn't about how many people know your name. It's about how many would still call you when they need honesty, not entertainment. I used to jump between too many circles: business groups, old friends, online chats. Every week was full, yet none of it felt real. Then one day I decided to let go of most of it and joined a small motorcycle group. No talk of status, no fake networking, just men, machines, and silence on the open road. Every Sunday we ride, share stories, fix each other's engines, and sometimes just sit there, no words needed. And somehow that small circle gave me more peace than 100 social events ever did. That's the thing about real connection. It's not built in chaos, it's built in repetition. You don't need more people, you need the right ones. Think about it. You don't need a crowd to feel alive. You just need one person who doesn't flinch when you're not at your best. People who share your rhythm, your respect, and your values. Seneca wrote, "One who is everywhere is nowhere." And he was right, because spreading yourself thin might look social, but it slowly drains your soul. Strong men don't need crowds to feel alive. They need purpose, consistency, and loyalty. So stop running from group to group, chasing a sense of belonging that keeps slipping through your fingers. Find one place that makes you feel grounded and show up for it. Over time, that small ritual will build a brotherhood stronger than any crowd. Strong men don't collect faces, they build bonds. If this part spoke to you, share one thing you've learned about real friendship in the comments. That one story might remind another man he's not alone. And when they don't ride to impress. They ride to remember who they are. Real strength doesn't need a crowd, just a circle that stays. Sign 9, you return stronger, not harder. I once met a man named Cole, a former soldier who lost his leg in an explosion overseas. For months, he shut himself away from everyone. Friends, family, even his unit. People called it depression, But it wasn't. It was rebuilding. He spent his days in the quiet of his small garage, teaching himself how to walk again, repurposing scrap metal into tools. When I saw him years later, he was training rescue dogs, helping them find people trapped in rubble. He said, "I can't run like I used to, but I can still save lives." He didn't come back bitter. He came back rebuilt. Not every wound needs an audience. Some battles are meant to be fought in silence, far from the noise, far from the crowd. Strong men understand this. When life cuts deep, they don't perform their pain. They retreat to rebuild. When a wolf gets injured, it leaves the pack. It doesn't howl for help or chase after the others. It disappears into the woods, finds a quiet place, and heals alone. Days pass. The wound closes. The hunger returns. And when that wolf finally steps back into the wild, it doesn't need to announce its comeback. The forest already knows. That's how a man grows after loss, betrayal, or failure. You don't have to prove that you're unbreakable. You just have to stop letting pain dictate your pace. Retreat is not weakness, it's strategy. The world says keep grinding, but the wise man knows some strength grows only in solitude. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He could have been talking about men, because true power doesn't roar, it regenerates. And that's what most people miss. Healing time isn't wasted time. The lone wolf doesn't disappear to escape. He disappears to evolve. Evolution isn't about turning colder. It's about learning to burn steady. That's the kind of heat that lasts a lifetime. And when he returns, he's not louder, he's wiser. So if you're in that quiet season, don't rush to be seen again. Sit with yourself. Let time do its work. Because the man who knows how to heal alone never fears losing the crowd again. Ask yourself, are you trying to prove you've moved on? Or are you quietly becoming someone who no longer needs to? And after you evolve, what you crave isn't more battles, it's balance. Sign 10, you guard your peace like it's treasure. At some point, every strong man learns this truth. Peace is not found, it's protected. You don't stumble into calm, you build it, defend it, and refuse to trade it for chaos disguised as excitement. You reach an age where drama doesn't impress you anymore. You've fought enough useless battles, argued with people who never listened, and chased approval that never mattered. Now silence feels like luxury, solitude feels like wealth. And if you're over 40, peace isn't just a mindset. It's 8 hours of sleep, a phone on silent, and nobody asking, "You still up?" After 10 p.m., strong men don't isolate, they filter. They know that not every invitation deserves a yes, and not every argument deserves an answer. Because your attention is currency, and most people are just trying to spend it. A friend of mine, Marcus, once worked at a high-pressure firm where every minute felt like an emergency. He was good at his job, but he was living on caffeine and anxiety. After months of late nights and fake smiles, he realized something simple. He wasn't tired from work. He was tired from constant pressure. So he made a small but radical change. He stopped answering every message immediately. He took lunch breaks alone at the park. He turned off notifications after 9 p.m. No rebellion, no dramatic exit, just quiet boundaries. And slowly, his focus came back. His patience came back. He came back. He told me once, "Peace doesn't shout, it waits for you to listen." Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And nothing requires more courage today than walking away from what drains you. It's not weakness to say, "This isn't for me." It's wisdom. Guarding your peace doesn't mean building walls. It means knowing what's worth opening the gate for. It means letting go of people who only show up when you're shining and holding close the ones who bring calm when you're collapsing. Strong men don't chase every battle anymore. They save their strength for building, for loving, for living. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their chaos, smile. You've worked too hard to get here. Your calm is not a gift, it's an achievement. Ask yourself, do you still fight for attention, or have you finally learned to fight for peace? At the end of it all, strength isn't about how loud you can be or how much you can carry. It's about how deeply you can stay grounded when everything around you shakes. Strong men don't live to impress. They live to express what they have learned through silence, scars, and steady choices. They've failed, fallen, been forgotten, and yet they rise quietly, without anger, without need for applause. Because real power doesn't announce itself, it simply is. Maybe that's you now. Maybe you're in the rebuilding season, alone, tired, misunderstood. But trust this, no time spent healing is ever wasted. Every quiet morning, every boundary, every breath you choose not to waste on noise, it's all sharpening you for what's next. One day you'll look back and realize the peace you fought for became the foundation of the man you were meant to be. Thank you for walking this far with me. If these words found you at the right time, remember, you're not just surviving life, you're mastering it, one calm decision at a time. If these words found you at the right time, join us here on Move or Die Stoic. This space is for men walking the same road,